Hello, everybody, and welcome to another live stream. And today we are going to be talking about all things Manchester United, from all the latest news to even like Amorim, which is kind of more like the most important or most talked about stuff with regards to Manchester United. I mean, we can go on and on talking about this stuff, and the truth is, it's really hard to deal with, considering that obviously Manchester United is the most talked about club in world football, and currently there is the ongoing pressure. Manchester United, there's also the ongoing Champions League, and we would wish that Man United was in the Champions League, but it is what it is. This is where we are, so we have to, make do with what we have so far and build from here. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please do like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't have to miss anything as it relates to Manchester United. We'll be talking about a few things and then taking it from there. The major headline or major talking point is Rúben Amorim, but today I had to kind of change the thumbnail because Antony is said to have slammed Manchester United, so we'll talk about that as well, and then we'll drill down on more on the updates at quarantine, Rúben Amorim stuff. What other things are we talking about today? Just to give you guys some so both things we're going to talk about: Rúben Amorim being under pressure, obviously, Antony slamming Manchester United after Real Betis move, Tyrell Malacia also returns to first team training. We'll talk about that. We'll also talk about Joshua Zirkzee being linked to the move away from Manchester United, and then we'll also talk about upcoming fixtures, results, and probably the women's team, the youth team, just give you like some breakdown. But I'll run through the stories for you, and then we can now take it to the next level. So we're going to start with managerial pressure. The first one is the managerial pressure. Rúben Amorim, his position at Manchester United is reportedly under intense pressure after a dismal start to the season. And then, obviously, the Red Devils currently occupy 14th place in the Premier League, having amassed just 7 points from the first 6 games. In truth, we're not the only team to have amassed 7 points from the first 6 games, but it is what it is. The latest setback is pretty much the 3-1 defeat at Brentford on Saturday. And obviously, pundits, former players, including Jamie Carragher, are calling for Amorim's sacking. And that is where, I have a concern or I have an issue, in as much as I want things to turn around for Manchester United. Ex-players like Jamie Carragher calling for Amorim's sacking sounds very familiar, because they have also called for Amorim's sacking in the past. They've called for Amorim's sacking. I mean, they've called for any manager sacking whatsoever, so long as the manager doesn't do anything. Under Ten Hag, same thing, they did the same. Under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, they did the same. But if you look at the records of these managers, they took us to second and third at that time, right? In their times at Man United, with too much issues. Ten Hag let Ronaldo go, it was a big problem, and all of that. So it seems like these ex-players, former Liverpool players, former whatever players, Tottenham Hotspur, even Jamie O'Hara, they basically say things in the media that decides what happens at Manchester United. So Jamie Carragher has called Amorim's tenure, as I said to you guys yesterday, a disaster, and suggesting that it is time to shake hands and move on. Other names linked with the potential replacements include Xavi Hernandez, former Barcelona manager, Oliver Glasner, and also Gareth Southgate, Antony Raiola, another ex-player or current manager of Bournemouth that is, linked with the job. But reports also suggest that United are not actively looking for a new manager at this time, despite the mounting pressure. Now, sources also indicate that Amorim still has the backing of the United board. We will talk more on that and break it down into details and have conversations. You guys just put it in the comment section and all of that. Should Rúben Amorim be given time at Man United, or should we just cut our losses and let go? So let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section as we build towards, having these conversations and I'm talking deeper into these things. Other player updates, which we would like to talk about, is this one where Antony has slammed Manchester United. Antony has slammed Manchester United. He said, the former Manchester United winger said, he said the club had treated him with disrespect. He said he has criticized the club's treatment of him in the lead up to the permanent transfer to Real Betis this summer. He also claimed to have felt disrespectful and to have felt disrespected and was forced to train separately from the first team for over 40 days. Antony, along with Marcus Rashford, Alejandro Garnacho, Jadon Sancho, Tyrell Malacia, were all reportedly exiled from the first team squad. He has since joined Real Betis for 21.65 million euros following a successful loan spell that season. So, yeah, Antony says that Manchester United disrespected him. We're going to talk more on that. Let's just read further on the story. This is according to the Manchester Evening News. Antony slams United for summer treatment before Real Betis transfer. He says they disrespected me. And this probably is another news that he was given. Kind of like an interview he was given. He slammed the way the club treated him before the summer move to Real Betis. The Brazilian also returned to England following a successful loan spell in Spain and was placed in the bomb squad, in quotes, as he sought a permanent move away. Antony scored 9 goals in 26 appearances for Betis in the second half of last season, helping them reach the Conference League final. A return to La Liga, or the La Liga side had been mooted throughout the window, but it took until deadline day for the agreement to be reached. Betis also paid £21.6 million for the 25-year-old, with United having a 50% sell-on clause since returning. He has picked up where he left off and has been a key part of Manuel Pellegrini's squad. Also, in England, Antony was placed in the bomb squad by Amorim alongside the likes of Marcus Rashford. In truth here, let's talk about this whole bomb squad situation. It's the media that called it a bomb squad. Amorim didn't call it a bomb squad, but it is what it is. The media can call it whatever they want to call it. So, speaking further, the Brazil international has opened up about his issues and how United treated him, speaking to Onda Chero via El Demarque. He said, basically, that they were very tough. They were very tough months in England. More than 40 days in the hotel, training separately. I feel like they disrespected me, but that's not the point. Okay, I don't want to create controversy. That's life. I'm very grateful for the club. There were bad times, but also good times with 2 titles. My family traveled to Seville for 4 to 5 days before the deal was finalized. I had the house rented and all of that. So it's basically just a comment that was blown out of proportion with the media saying he slammed United. He felt disrespected, no doubt, but the truth is his performance hasn't even matched the fee that Man United paid for him. And it's not a disrespect to say, okay, you are surplus to requirements. Thank you so much for your contributions to the club. We sent you on loan, no doubt, but then you are not part of the main squad. That is pretty much it. You saying, oh, you were made to train for over 40 days, blah, 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 blah. If you come out and say you felt disrespected, how will Marcus Rashford, who is an academic graduate of the club, feel? But it is what it is. You didn't perform well. If you feel disrespected, that's fine. But obviously, you know the media and you know how Manchester Evening News take these kinds of things. They blow it out of proportion and they make it look like Man United really treated the player really badly and stuff. But it is what it is. People are saying, obviously, that he is doing really well at Betis, but he's putting up the same numbers at Man United, albeit for a lesser fee, right? But it is what it is. Also, in other news, Tyrell Malacia returns to first team training, left back. Tyrell Malacia, the only player remaining from the aforementioned bomb squad, has been reintegrated into the first team training. His loan move to Elche fell through on deadline day. Malacia, who missed the entire 23-24 campaign due to a long-term knee injury which led him to have 2 surgeries, had been training with the under-21. Sources emphasized that his return was a planned change and not a reaction to the team's recent form. Perfect facts, like facts here. Absolute facts. It's pretty interesting to see that Malacia is going to be reintegrated into the squad. The truth is, Rúben Amorim said this before. He said that if these players don't secure a loan move, they'll be reintegrated into the squad. Same thing for Jadon Sancho and for Marcus Rashford. If they didn't secure any loan moves, they'll be reintegrated into the squad. So Malacia has been reintegrated into the squad. No big issues there and nothing. It's not anything to do with the form, but it's also going to be a good addition and good competition for what's his name? A good competition for Patrick Dogu, who seems to be overloaded with a lot of playing time, and which makes Rúben Amorim to play Mason Mount as a left back in times. Diego Leon obviously seems to be not ready, even though I don't know why we signed him if we're going to be putting him on the bench. Why don't we just play him? But he seems not to be ready, so we might have to basically just look forward to watching Malacia play, even though I don't know what the next step will be with regards to that. Just following up with the Real Madrid situation, following up with the Real Madrid game against Kairat in Kazakhstan. Real Madrid are 2-0 up with a penalty that was turned down or something. Yeah, a penalty that was turned down for Kairat, who dived. But the Kairat player who dived. So it is what it is. It's 2-0. Kylian Mbappe penalty and a wonderful goal for the second goal. Speaking of other transfer news, we're going to talk about Tyrell Malacia. We're going to talk about Joshua Zirkzee here. It is said that his future is uncertain at Man United and would be potentially open to a January move. If we're going to talk about Joshua Zirkzee, yeah. So, before we go to Joshua Zirkzee, the Antony news, you can see how the media painted the narrative. Antony accuses Man United of disrespect as flop launches into... Like, what is that? This is by Daily Express. Another news is there is Antony slams United for summer treatment before Real Betis move. But it is what it is. The media would always push whatever they want to push to get you to read. Clickbait, clickbait, clickbait. So, Zirkzee's future is uncertain. We've had that. Zirkzee has been linked with a potential move to Serie A club Como in January. I brought this to you yesterday as well. Since Amorim's appointment, the striker has struggled for playing time. He had also always struggled for playing time, even under, if you're looking at playing time. He had also struggled under Ten Hag for playing time as well. So, making only one Premier League start this season. How many games have we played? 7 games. How many Premier League starts do you expect him to have? He's a backup striker and a backup number 10. So, but it is what it is. The news will always be the news. With just 82 minutes across all competitions, an agreement with Como has been reported, although it's unclear what that entails. United had signed Zirkzee from Bologna for £36.5 million last year. If we're going to go deep into the details or try to dive deep into what that means, let's see. Yeah, there's no major, like, there's nothing to it basically. Now, speaking of, before we go down into Rúben Amorim's situation, Manchester United's latest or recent results, obviously in the last 3 games, we beat Chelsea 2-1, we lost to Man City 3-0, and we lost to Brentford 3-1. Apart from that, upcoming fixtures for Man United is Sunderland on the 4th of October, And then obviously we play Sunderland at home. They are in top form. They are the Black Cats and the dark horses in this situation. Also, the next fixture after that is 19th October, Liverpool, just after the international break. And then that will be on Sunday, I believe. And then the next one will be on the 25th of October, where we face Brighton. Let me know in the comment section, how many points do you think Manchester United can get from this game? How many points do you think Manchester United can get from this game? In other news, with the women's team, Man United women defeated Liverpool 2-0 2 days ago. Yep. Currently second in the Women's Super League table, and the next match is against Chelsea Women on October 3rd at the Lee Sports Village. So that's pretty much all up on Manchester United news and stuff. We're going to try to break down to see what other people are saying with regards to Manchester United. Rúben Amorim, on his first year at Man United, said it's completely different. A different reality. I played 7 to 8 games against English teams in the UCL and in Europa League, but the play in the league is different. It's completely different. Real Madrid are 3-0 up, and I think it is, who scored that goal? Kylian Mbappe, hat-trick for Kylian in the Champions League. Is what it is. Also, he said, Rúben Amorim said, even the games that English teams play in Europe compared to England is completely different. So that is pretty much what he said. That's Rúben Amorim. Then other things, Manchester United are now second most valuable club in the world at 6.6 billion with $833 million revenue last season. Still the richest in the Premier League, according to Forbes and Deloitte. It is what it is. Tyrell Malacia will meet with Rúben Amorim at Carrington today with a view to return to first team group. Malacia has been training alone for at 8-tier side Trafford FC, who appreciated the financial donation which he made to them. He also was training with the under-21s. Furthermore, Tyrell Malacia has been given another chance at Manchester United. The left back seemed to have been left out of, but has been brought back into the first team with immediate effect. The Dutchman is again part of the Manchester United squad with immediate effect. Malacia is again part of the Amorim's group. Rúben Amorim is going to give the left back serious chance to fight back into the team, so Malacia will be able to make a game minutes again for the first time since January 2026. This according to Just Bulahoof, and that's probably going to be a Dutch journalist. Furthermore, speaking of Amorim's job, because that seems to be the hot topic in the news, Manchester United's summer signings make it simple to switch to a back four. This is according to Jamie Carragher. He said you could play Bruno as a 10, Bumo on the right, Cunha on the left, and Sesko up front. With that setup, I believe a capable manager could have them competing for European spots. Trust me, when another manager comes and he flops again or he makes a mistake, boom, the climb on his back. Oh, this system doesn't work. He's out of his depth. We shall see which excuse they will give, you know. And then this is what Jamie Carragher had to say again about Rúben Amorim, because Jamie Carragher seems to be talking a lot, right? Seems to be talking a lot for one who hasn't won the Premier League. He says, the quicker Manchester United make the decision on the manager, I think it's better for everyone, because it's been a disaster for the club, but also the manager, and we are only waiting for the inevitable. I think Rúben Amorim is still in a job because I think the powers that be at Manchester United have made that many mistakes so far with the decisions they have made on and off the pitch that they do not want to admit right now that they have made another. That is a ridiculous statement from Jamie Carragher, but it is what it is. Someone now says, this is according to Alex Crook, if Amorim doesn't survive, Man United will prefer someone with the experience of English football. Yeah. If Amorim doesn't survive it, that is facts, but we shall see. We shall see. Yeah, there's not so much going on with, and then we talked about Wayne Rooney yesterday. Wayne Rooney, seems to always be quick to air his opinion and air his views and talk about stuff. He said that the culture at the club has gone. I see it on a daily basis. I see staff losing jobs, people walking out of jobs. I've got 2 kids in academy at that football club, and I really hope that this doesn't affect what they are doing. What I'm seeing at the club, at the football club, is not Manchester United. Then if it's not Manchester United, what kind of change can you make? What kind of change can you make? What kind of change can you make at Man United to make things, better? The case may be. So, Marcus Rashford, this is according to Statman Dave. He says Marcus Rashford compared to Man United players in the league this season, more shots on target, more attempted take-ons, more successful take-ons, more carries into the box, more touches in the box, more goal creating actions, more goal involvement, more assists. Is said to be the problem as well at Man United. But he didn't work hard. That's the fact. Whether we like it or not, he didn't work hard. Yeah, that's pretty much all up on Manchester United news. Yeah. Other transfer news. Antoine Semenyo is continuing to attract interest despite signing new Bournemouth contract in the summer, with Tottenham, Manchester United, Manchester City and Aston Villa all keen on 25-year-old. He has scored 4 goals and made 2 assists in 7 matches this season, according to TBR Football. Then if we're going to look at other rumors and gossip with regards to Manchester United, I just said to you, Antoine Semenyo, according to CBR Football, is of interest to Manchester United. Also, Barcelona will wait to make the decision about signing on loan United forward Marcus Rashford on a permanent basis, according to Football Insider. Deal hits a huge stumbling block. That is the Marcus Rashford deal, according to Football Insider as of yesterday. He says that Rashford has an agreement to complete a permanent move to Barcelona at the end of the season long loan. Furthermore, he says the latest on the situation is that Barcelona are not rushing their decision to permanently sign Marcus Rashford, given his mixed fortunes in recent years. An Englishman was exiled from Rúben Amorim squad and needs to impress the Blaugrana to avoid returning back to Man United. Rashford's wages causes a headache for Barcelona as well. If you look at it, as revealed on Football Insider's Inside Track podcast, the Catalan Giants are under immense financial pressure and could scupper their plans to sign the winger. Prior to his season-long loan, Marcus Rashford took a pay cut to join Barcelona in an attempt to get his dwindling career back on track. Yet the England international will be demanding that his weekly pay rises back to around £325 million mark, which looks to be far too high for the cash-strapped Blaugrana. Speaking on the Football Inside Track podcast, this, I think this is according to Football Insider Pete O'Rourke. Pete O'Rourke explained that Barcelona have got him for the season. They will continue to evaluate him, and if he does well for them, there is the option there to make it permanent for £26.2 million, which Pete also said is a bargain. Probably the only question mark would be his wages, because we all know Barcelona's financial struggles over the years. So it's not a big deal if we look at it. Whether they could afford those huge wages for Rashford over a long-term basis, that could remain to be seen. Other things considered, if we look at this whole Marcus Rashford situation, it is not a big deal, basically, because I don't know why they're making it a big deal. But Barcelona will be able to sign him. They'll pull one lever or the other, and then the signing will be complete. But yeah, we have to just keep going. Basically, hope that all things being equal, Marcus Rashford is signed by Marcus Rashford is signed by Barcelona. Real Madrid just scored their 4th goal, and that is Camavinga, assisted by Rodrigo. We keep going. Gareth Southgate could replace Rúben Amorim at Manchester United. That is another news. Gareth Southgate's Man United arrival to intrigue Rashford. After the embarrassing defeat to Brentford 27, the Portuguese job, Amorim's job, looks like it's hanging by a thread, with Sir Jim Ratcliffe already eyeing up Oliver Glasner to be Man United manager on a short list. But also, surprise appointment that former England boss could also be key to Marcus Rashford returning to Old Trafford. The 27-year-old was one of Southgate's go-to man, barring the omission from the Euro 2024 squad due to the dip in form. This could see Rashford snub Hansi Flick for a reunion with ex-Three Lions manager and rebuild his credibility in Manchester. We all know how these kinds of things go. We all know how these kinds of news go, because when Marcus Rashford comes back, trust me, he will still flop again at Man United. He's a good player. We love him. I watch him. I enjoy watching him play and all that. I trust that he can deliver, but it is what it is. I think Marcus Rashford's time at Man United is done. We can't overemphasize that. Yeah, Deco has also said a few things about this whole Marcus Rashford situation. He has also said, that they have a deal, a buy option in place to sign him for 26.2 million pounds, and that they will analyze at the end of the season to basically discuss further on what next for Marcus Rashford. That is by the way. Another one which we could talk about is basically Michael Carrick. It has been reported in the media that Michael Carrick would be tempted to return to Manchester United. The club have started to work on contingency plans if results do not improve under Amorim and if Amorim is sacked. This is according to TalkSport. I don't know what you guys think about this one. For me, I feel like, obviously, what is the use of having, a short-term plan that would eventually not... How do I explain this? If you were recruited by Manchester United for a short term, you will want to give your best to make it long term. And then when you give your best to make it long term and the results don't turn around, then it now becomes a problem. Think about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Same thing, such short term plan, but eventually Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has not secured a good job since then, a proper job since then. He was coaching at Mulder and then came to Man United, and since then it was done. Michael Carrick, I've been following for a while now at Middlesbrough and stuff. He's been coaching really well, getting good results. I think it's his first season. He had a good result, good turnout, and second season it seemed to have dipped a little bit, and then he was let go by Middlesbrough. But yeah. Now, TalkSport as well, running with the way they run with their news and stuff. And the ghosting of TalkSport insists that Man United have to sack Rúben Amorim imminently. He said he needs to be sacked. He has no understanding of how to manage a football club, which would lead me to ask you then, how did he manage Sporting? He did well in all the clubs he's coached. Yeah. And the rest, like I said, Jamie O'Hara says Rúben Amorim is out of his depth at Man United. The recurring theme has started already. Out of his depth, he'll say all sorts of nasty things just to ruin the guy's career or ruin the guy's reputation. He says, I cannot believe how they've been and how stubborn he's been. Like, I'm not going to be bothered to actually go through I'm not going to be bothered to actually go through what he really said, because it's pointless, and all of that. Yeah, but we might just have to see basically how things pan out with Rúben Amorim and all of that. There are already links to other managers, including a short-term fix by Michael Carrick. But let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section. We could all talk here and talk about all the things that are going on at Man United, and we'll end up being sad. The truth is, if Amorim gets sacked, then we have to back the next manager, right? Oliver Glasner is on the books, and he's one manager that I would like. He's a winner as well. He's experienced. He understands the Premier League. And then he would work with this team and basically use the players to fit in this 3-5-2 formation. It's something that I believe that will work. Rúben Amorim hasn't worked, and it's sad that it hasn't worked, but we have to make do with what we have and build from there. And then Jamie O'Hara, again, in his usual nonsense talk, is saying he's amazed that no one has called Roy Keane. That he would want Roy Keane to be in that dressing room. Roy Keane has failed as manager of different clubs. What do you think will happen if he comes to Manchester United? We respect Roy Keane, but it is what it is. Roy Keane will not even change anything at the club. Will he be able to sell players? No, until January. Will he be able to kick people out of the club? You kick people out of the club, who will you play? Academy graduates? Trust me. Yeah, it's been a disaster, but I'm not going to be here to come and start saying defending Amorim or anything whatsoever, but it is what it is. Bournemouth will ramp up discussions over a new contract for Antony in the coming months. Manchester United are big fans of Iraola. Yeah, we would like to do a manager profile of some of these players, of these managers that are of interest to Manchester United. We'll build from there. But the truth is, sometimes you have to have someone of the courage to try to find a way to talk about all things Manchester United without getting really pissed. And this is according to Alex Crook. Now, the fact that things aren't working for Rúben Amorim has given all the other people reasons to have conversations and discussions, but it is what it is. Yeah. People are also saying that small changes would improve things at Manchester United. But then you have to think about our next game at Sunderland. And that Sunderland game is already starting to become a must-win game for Manchester United. And we have to think about it from the perspective, we're going to do a match preview for that game. I think about it from perspective of Manchester United must win that game. Another question I want to ask is, does winning the game give Amorim another extra time to turn things around? Because the next game is going to be Liverpool. And if Manchester United lose to Liverpool, then I think that's the end of the road. And I think as far as we understand, Liverpool will be like the end of the road for Rúben Amorim, if you think about it. But let's see. Let's see how maybe Man United might decide to cut their losses and spend that 12 million and let go of Rúben Amorim. Let me know thoughts and feelings in the comment section. I mean, we could talk on and on. There's also other news. Antony is another manager, according to Alex Crook, admired by Manchester United. Bournemouth, where Iraola currently manages, could also open an approach as his contract nears an end this season. Many observers in Man United academy teams are blown away by Darren Fletcher's work ethic, saying that it's the latest indication that he's destined for top-level management. Now they're going to try to link him with the Man United job. It's so funny. You know, it's so funny. It is what it is. The feeling inside Man United is that Rúben Amorim can still turn things around despite the bad start to the season, and that's according to Chris Wheeler and Nathan Salt. Yeah. That's pretty much what it is. On the Marcus Rashford and Barcelona situation, Barcelona sporting director Deco has said that there is no penalty clause if the club do not sign Marcus Rashford permanently from Manchester United next summer. Yeah. So let's see what Chris Wheeler had to say about this whole Manchester United situation with Rúben Amorim. He's saying that United hold talks with, no, not this one. 2 hours ago, United Confidential, latest on Amorim future, Kobe Minu's Italian job, why Fletcher needed knee operation, Rashford deal explained, Boss misses under 21 game, which United star is helping Lacey and all of that. According to Chris Wheeler, in one of the articles that he released, he said when the team, so this is according to Wheeler, when he talked about the inventive Keith Andrews schooled Amorim, whose team are sitting ducks for opponents. He basically analyzed the game and how Amorim was defeated. And then he said that United head coach is adamant that he will not change and has become tired of repeating himself, even suggesting that the Pope couldn't persuade him. It may become his epitaph. He also says that his players would lose faith in his philosophy if he changed now, but that is happening anyway and will only continue if results don't improve. Real Madrid have scored again, and this is by Brahim Diaz. It was a sub who just came in and he has scored, and Real Madrid are winning Kairat 5-0 in the Champions League. Then he says there is a difference between self-belief and stubbornness. United have become predictable, sitting ducks for opponents who find it easy to second-guess their next move. While Keith Andrews was tailoring his team for Saturday's lunchtime clash, Amorim stuck to plan A and lost the third time in 6 Premier League games this season, and his 2 wins against Chelsea and Burnley have been chaotic affairs. He also says it is always the same. He lamented afterwards, when we win, it's not the system. When we lose, it's the system. I understand that. I think it's more that we played this game like Brentford wants to play this game. We never settled down into our game. We suffered goals in transition that we know about during the week and worked on that. Amorim spent much of last season moaning about the lack of time he had with his players. Now, Chris Wheeler will now say, without the demands of European football and cup games, he has weeks free to work with them on the training ground, but to little effect, it would appear. Mind you, Man United are just 7 points in the league, sitting 14th, have 7 points in the league, sitting 14th on the table. And if you look at it, the people that are ahead of Man United in the league, the teams ahead of Man United in the league, there are, let me just give you a heads up, so Brentford and Man United are typically in the same point with 2 wins. The team with the highest win is Liverpool, 5, followed by Arsenal, 4, Crystal Palace, Tottenham Hotspur, Sunderland, and Bournemouth, and Man City all have 3 wins. Except for Crystal Palace, the rest have 1 loss, and Man City has 2 losses. Chelsea has 2 losses. Everton has 2 losses. Man United have 3 losses. The highest loss is 5 games, and that's Wolves. So when you think about it, and you think about the grand scheme of things and the long-term thing, if Man United gets a win or 2 on the go, we will not be where we are, and there will not be talk about Rúben Amorim. But it is what it is. You lose, they talk. You win, they also talk. So let's just keep our powders dry and hope that Man United will, do something, especially under Rúben Amorim. If not, we will not be opposed to him going. We'll just kind of mourn the fact that he's left and build on the next one following how Manchester United has performed the last couple of seasons. So thank you so much for watching. We could go on and on talking about it, but there's nothing so much dominating the headlines with Manchester United news, especially with the Champions League ongoing and with other things as it relates to football. Currently, Atalanta and Club Brugge are playing a 1-1 draw at Atalanta, but it is what it is. So we shall observe as things go. And I think they made it 2-1. Did they make it 2-1 or was 1-1? Yeah, it was 1-1. Okay, it was made 2-1. Atlanta came from behind from 1-0 down to lead 2-1. Let's see what the current scoreline is. Atlanta finished the game 2-1 against Club Brugge. So that was a fighting. The current manager of Atlanta is used to be Southampton manager last season. So thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. I'll see you on the next one. If you haven't already, please do like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't have to miss anything as relates to Manchester United. Take care, goodbye, and God bless.